What is up, guys? Welcome back. Light Warriors Unleashed podcast, episode 78. Discernment is the energy we're moving through today, and authenticity. And I dive into something that I've been seeing in the collective lately about just people saying they can do stuff and they can't actually do it, and the distortion that's moving through the field right now, and us really using our intuition to guide us and trusting that and stepping into the space of that and really honoring who we are. So I love this conversation. I love the duality of the conversation. I always love talking about our healing work and our raw and realness and vulnerable side. And it's fun to just lead into this. And it's not fun if you've ever invested money with someone that can't actually do the work that they say they're going to do. And that's why this energy is so important for us to understand and be within. So I can't wait for you guys to listen. So no further ado, episode 78 of the Light Warriors Unleashed podcast. Here we go, guys. Another solo episode, Light Warriors Unleashed podcast, and this is going to be fun. So firstly, I just want to comment on my beautiful self and just say I have been rocking these au naturel looks for a while now. And even just stepping onto video, because some of you guys are listening to this on YouTube. I do cut a version of this as a reel for promotion onto Instagram and into Facebook. And I'm really, really impressed with me owning my raw and realness with barely any makeup. Like right now, I'm wearing a hat with like a really low ponytail. I've been kayaking all day and I'm just showing up. And this is one of the key dynamics I want to speak to today. I want to really talk about discernment, but I want to talk about authenticity as well inside of this podcast today, which literally just dropped in at this very moment of time. And isn't that just so much fun? And as you guys know, if you have been in my world for a long enough time, if you've been listening to the podcast, if you've been in and out of my space, if you follow me on Instagram, if you are any part of my world, I speak to authenticity all the time. We cannot teach that which we haven't done ourselves or integrated ourselves through. And when it comes to spiritual conversations and when it comes to the evolution of us spiritually and moving through our expansion, we cannot teach what we haven't already been through. And this leads us into this conversation of discernment today. And I want to talk about what I've been noticing in the field, what I've been having conversations about lately with some of my other spiritual shamanic people in my life, and just how this is showing up for us to hold. Now, the word discernment and the energy of discernment has been moving through the collective field for a while now. It's been something that I've been speaking into at least for probably the last year and a half, but really potently coming in this week in energy. And wherever, wherever you listen to this podcast, whenever you listen to this podcast, whether it's the week it launched, whether it's in 5 weeks, 5 months, a year from now, and you found this podcast, this will be relevant for you. So always know when I record in an energy or I channel messages in an energy form, it's literally for us to step into the space and for us to honor and acknowledge. Now, remember, everyone's on different timelines. Everyone's in their own timing. Everyone's moving through their pace in their own way, right? So allowing us to be able to hear it, see it, feel it, move through it, and be with it is a key component as we grow and expand. So when I say to you the word discernment, about us looking through the veil, this is an important key to an energy we're moving through right now. There's a lot of people out there saying that they can do a lot of things, and some of them may be able to, and some of them may have a little bit of that. But there is so much scarcity happening in the world right now that there is people engulfing their offers. There's people out there saying they can do stuff they can't do. There's people out there that are saying certain dynamics and speaking for certain things that are not of truth. I've been hearing a lot about this lately, and that's why I'm stepping in to speak about it. I have a very, very connected energetic field to liars and to people not telling the truth and expanding in the truth. And when I mean a big energetic field, it means I know right off the bat and I can catch them right away. And maybe it's because, part of my life, I used to live in that energy. I used to be in that energy, used to manipulate in that energy. And I'm saying that from a very truthful perspective of part of my life, because I always felt like I wasn't worthy. So I would be like, what do you need from me? I can become that for you, which is manipulating. Even though sometimes we think about it like it's just like, oh, it's not really a thing. Like I'm just telling a white lie. I'm just expanding it a little bit. And any type of distortion, meaning not fully of truth, that moves through us is considered a lower vibration. So in connection with this conversation that we're having today, all of this is a lower vibration. So if someone says they can do something and they can only 70% do it, that 30% is the vibration that's moving through the collective of inauthenticity. And when we are in inauthenticity, you can imagine the connection of energy is not expandable, right? It's not connected in light. It's not purely of truth. So these conversations that I've been having recently with all different kinds of people in my world, like I'm going to give you some examples here in a second. It shows up a lot here in Costa Rica in this spiritual community, that there's people out there, and there's a lot of people. And I've talked to my nurse who comes to give me IVs about this. She's born and raised at Tica in Costa Rica. She was born here, and she knows the leyland. She knows the people. And she says to me, Colleen, she was the one who referred me to the ayahuasca ceremony that I went to. And she said to me, I would only sit with ayahuasca with 2 people in this country. 2. Do you know how many people are doing ayahuasca retreats, ayahuasca ceremonies here in this country? Hundreds and thousands, maybe, of people. 2 she would sit with. And it really got me thinking about the energy, because I watch it transpire here. I watch it. Everybody's a spiritual person. Everyone does energy clearing. Everyone does all these things. But most people have no fucking idea what they're doing. And they think they can do it. And, granted, if I look into their soul's perspective, there could be lives that they've done this work and they may be remembering those lives right now, but they're doing it in distortion because they actually haven't mastered the craft and haven't brought it through their fields and authentically held it and worked through it to be able to teach it. And each one of us has an imprint in a certain way. A lot of my clients, and some of you guys listening to this are my clients. I say to you, if it's in you, it's for you. And that is the truth. But we work within this energy field to hold it. My mediums work within that energy field to hold it. They are already mediums. They don't have to learn how to be a medium. Their goal is to unlock and remember their mediumship, not to learn it from somebody else, but to unlock it inside of themselves. And maybe they use a guide or a mentor to help them accelerate those gifts forward. Amazing. But when we go to someone to completely learn something new that we haven't actually processed ourselves, and then we go out and turn it out and try, quote unquote, to have a business around it, there's an inauthentic energy. And it shows up here a lot with retreats. So in twofold instances that have happened in my world over the last week, a girlfriend of mine was telling me about this woman that comes and does these retreats here in Costa Rica. And she books out this place where we know of a couple times a year, and she comes and does retreats. She does plant medicine in these retreats, but she uses multiple plant medicines in a 7-day journey instead of ayahuasca solely on its own, or instead of psilocybin solely on its own. She's mixing plant medicines. And you can tell in her vibrational field that she's never been trained to hold the medicine. Now, when we talk about plant medicine and connecting to the earth and using psychedelics in ceremony, there's a vibrational alignment that needs to be called forward to hold it, not just for yourself, but to hold it for other people especially. When we individually go into ceremony to go experience it, we're in our own zone, our own admission. But it takes an energetic capacity to hold us there. For potency, what if something happened to somebody because they had an allergic reaction? What would she do? And some people are also in ceremony when they're holding space, and especially on journeys with like mushrooms, like psilocybin, you do not journey with your people because we're like way the fuck out and we need someone to ground in. We can't have the leader, quote unquote, doing the drugs with us when their job is to hold space for us. It's just not going to work. And so there's this distortion running through the field, or the quality of medicine people are using. And they think it's from potency. I was talking to my shaman the other day, and she was telling me about bufo and about where the bufo source is in this country and the main source for this region. And it's distorted. It's not purely bufo from pure sourced places. And all these people that are doing retreats here that are serving bufo are using it. So I say this too, because some of you guys are thinking about retreats. Some of you guys are thinking about taking on mentors. Some of you are thinking about joining programs. Some of you are thinking about things. Follow your intuition. Discernment is needed right now. There are so many spiritual gurus out there in the world right now telling shit to people that are not, that is surface level information. Like this whole 5D new earth energy. It's coming. Everyone's going to be in it. Da 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 da. You know how we find 5G new earth energy? When we do the shadow work inside of us and illuminate our light more. When we step into our full potency and power. When we take back and reclaim our divine birthright codes. That's how we lean in. That's how we step into the space. That's how we maneuver it forward. It's in those perspectives and those energies that this happens. Oh, there you go. Move some energy for somebody right here. And it's in these moments of time. And, you know, the real work of the earth experience isn't in jobs. The real work is in the spiritual work, is in the shadow work. It's in the depth work within you. It's in the inner child work. It's within the higher self connection work. That's the real work. Because when you start to step into that, then you embody in the flow of energy and you move through the flow of energy that holds a vibrational alignment. And when you do that, then you can create, then you open up to all these possibilities and you are one with the energy. You are connected in with the energy. You are in this landscape of things. And when we, you know, we use mentors and guides, guys. I have mentors, I have guides, I have coaches, I am in programs, I'm in communities. I'm leaning more into community this year. Like there's another community I'm a part of that is like heavy hitting expansion that scares the fuck out of me. And part of me thinks I'm self-sabotaging it right now, but I am going to own that shit and lean in. But I've been watching this woman for 4 years. And at the beginning, it wasn't aligned. And now it's like my soul's being called forward to step into the space to really own the power that this holds for me. But I have to use discernment. Can she really deliver what it is she says? Is she authentic and real? Does she speak my language? Do we vibrate in the same energetic field? And not in a way of like, we're in the same field, but in a way of like, does her value systems match mine? Do I feel a call to her work? Do I feel like she can utilize, that I can utilize this expansion energy to move it through? Is this truth for me? That's what I mean. That's where the energy is. That's the whole dynamic of the energetic movement. So I brought this forward for you today because we are seeing people make decisions now in the earth experience, and maybe they're all aligned, guys. And I want to trust in the divineness of it all. But for those of you listening to this podcast, some of you have made decisions and haven't discerned the energy. And you've maybe bought in or invested into things that didn't feel aligned, and you did it anyways because you felt peer pressure. You felt like you were missing out. You felt like you needed to. You know, I have one of my clients that was a part of a coaching program with me, and she's no longer a part of the coaching program. And I said, good for you. If it doesn't align with you any longer, you need to speak that into truth. Now, if you're bound by contracts and you signed up for a year and you're not fulfilling the contract space, you know, it's definitely hard for some of us that are in authentic energy to let people out in advance and before they finish what they committed to. It's challenging because I get your heart-centered space and I want you to flow within that energy, but you made a commitment to that. And I've struggled over the last year with some of this because some of it I need to hold. Now I have a commitment checkbox that they check before they purchase anything, stating that they understand that they're in a committed relationship. However, I'm still allowing people to kind of bow out into my field and space. And I've got to really get better with holding boundaries. I'm working on it, guys. And just like I always say to you, I'm super authentic. especially on my podcast, because I want you to know me and I want you to see me, all of me, and all the perspectives of all of this and all the ways that I show up in the world. I desire that for us to be together in this experience, to hold together in this experience, to align in this experience. And even though I may not ever know you, I may not ever know that you listen to this, I may not ever come across you in the world, but if I can show up and be real for you today and here right now, then it brings that ripple effect in the world that I hope that someone else makes a decision based in an energy that they feel that they can do the same, right? So I'm not the person for everyone, nor do I ever feel or think that I am. However, I am the person for a lot of you. And a lot of you feel inclined, and a lot of you come into my space for me to bridge for you, to activate for you, to help you feel and move and trust yourself in this connection. That's my job, right? That's my job. But I say to everybody, every single person that I work with, what do you feel? Use discernment. You know if you're meant to work with me. You know if this is a thing. You know every single time. And there's been times where I, in 2021, I launched this program, and you guys have heard me talk about it, but it was called Awake and Expand. And I didn't really know what I was going to teach, and I knew that it was a thing, and I knew people needed it, but nobody bought the program. Nobody bought the program. And I really looked at it and had a conversation with myself that said, I think you were out of integrity to teach that. And that was a hard pill to swallow at the time, because I was awakening. I was expanding. I was in an energy field, but not in the vibrational alignment that was desired to be in. So I have a lot of obviously protective energy in my field, where the universe was like, sorry, dudette, we're cutting you off and taking that out of the field of awareness. And I went, thank you. Or else maybe I would have had to pretend like I knew what I was doing. And if we pretend like we know what we're doing, then we are not authentically us. But some of you guys are trying to pretend to be something that you're not, instead of owning who you are in your potency. And when you own in your potency, that changes everything. So all these people that you're watching, if you're using discernment and the energy doesn't feel right, they may be portraying something that they're not, or they're just not the person for you. But what I'm seeing right now in the space of our spiritual advancement and evolution, there's a lot of people out there saying things that are not of truth. And they're engulfing energies to try and make it seem like they know what they're doing. And they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year at it, even millions, some of them. So I urge you to consider trusting your intuition and your energy field in connection with this, to literally trust in your own self. And what I actually want to do today is I am going to put a link in the show notes for a light language transmission that I created for a summit that I'm going to give to you guys for free. It is an activation for deeper connections into your intuitive flow. So I'm going to throw it in the show notes. You guys can go and grab it there if you feel called to it. So it will help you accelerate the energy through your field for you to continue to accelerate and clear out. Sorry if you guys are watching the video and I'm moving around. It will help you to clear out any cobwebs that are in the way, any distortions in the way, and help you accelerate that light. It's a light language transmission, just telling you guys in advance, I'm speaking another language, a galactic one, inside the space. But I desire to gift that to you. So I will throw the link up. You guys can register and grab it. And I want you to use it, because we are at a time right now, this pivotal moment in time, that's calling us forward to continue to trust our path, to trust our intuition, to move through with it, to allow ourselves to be seen. This is a big deal. So what does discernment mean to you? And how are you using it? How are you flowing with it? What does this mean? This is it. This is our time right here, right now. So I love you. And like always, I say, let me know you're listening. I want to know. Tag me on social, share this out, give us a review wherever you're listening to this, send it to a friend, whatever it is. The more people that get to listen to this podcast, the more people that get to listen to the podcast, which means more energetic vibration moves through the collective, moves through the field, moves through endeavors. That's what it's all about, right? So I love you guys. Thank you guys so much for being here. For those of you that listen consistently every single week, I just so appreciate you. And I love that I get to serve this way in the collective. And I did put out a poll today on my Instagram for what people want me to answer and talk about on my podcast when I do solo episodes. So if you guys have any opinions and you're like, oh, I'd really love to learn about ancestral healing, or I don't know, send me a DM. Let me know. I want to know, because I want to be able to gift you as well, like stuff that you're curious about, more information on spiritual things, about truth, about dynamics, about prophecy, maybe, because I do that work too. And I just want to be able to connect in deeper with you. So, all right, guys, go enjoy your day, your evening, wherever you are in the earth plane right now. And I'll see you guys all again in the next episode.